Hey folks, welcome. Today's goal is to fly a Boeing jet in much the same way you would fly a Cessna using radio navigation. So hold on, it might be an interesting ride, and thanks for coming along. If you like what you see, I'm sure glad you're here, and I hope you come back. My flights tend to incorporate several add-on programs as I try to give you the full airline experience. Once again, welcome aboard. So here we are at Winnipeg International Airport up in Manitoba, Canada. Looking at the jet bridge here, I can see it says Winnipeg Airport Services Corporation, or WASCO. Don't believe I've ever been introduced to WASCO before. Wascally Wabbit. Here in Winnipeg. Just a couple of, there's downtown Winnipeg in the distance. There's the shadow of a WestJet airplane in the tarmac. I guess when they took the picture for the satellite imagery, I captured that one. Anyway, we're cold and dark. Let's get the jet bridge attached. Oh. Oh, wow. And now that we have a jet bridge, let's climb aboard. Oh. Ah, where's the view that I want? Here's the view. So, before we actually take our seats, let's check for a couple of things. Let's see that the fire bottle is showing in the green. It is. We check that these circuit breakers are all flush, none are popped out. They are. We'll check the jump seat passenger's oxygen real fast. It's good. We'll check the airworthiness certificate and the aircraft registration documents. They're okay. Crash Axe is available. Emergency breathing apparatus is available. There's a headset for the jump seat passenger in case he wants to listen in. And we'll check the circuit breakers behind the captain's seat. They're all flush. Check the emergency escape rope. Make sure it's available and attached. Do a rainbow check. Move your eyes along the back behind the flight deck in a rainbow fashion. Check for the extra set of landing gear pins in case we land off airport or at an airport that's never seen a 737 before. Check the gravity-fed emergency landing gear release valves. They seem okay. Looks like we do have ground power available, so I'll use it. Battery on. Check to see we have 3 down and locked indicated on the upper panel. 3 down and locked indicated on the main panel. Flaps are up. Spoilers are retracted. We can set... First officer, could you do me a favor and set the parking brake? Set the parking brake. We're chalked up, so I don't worry too much about that, but just as a matter of procedure, I like to have the parking brake on. Throttles are to idle. Cutoff valves, fuel cutoff valves are to cut off. And after checking those things, I can comfortably take my seat. Ah, if I can find the right button. Ah, darn it. Sometimes the best way to take your seat is just to take your seat. There we go. Position lights to steady, so people outside the aircraft know that there's activity going on. Emergency lights on, so our cabin crew, now we're a Boeing business jet today. We have one flight attendant and 10 passengers, 10 guests. So a little less formal than on a regular airline flight. Before I get too far, let's fire up our program for our first officer. Let's start setting up. Okay, she's going to do her thing. Let's turn on the left aft fuel pump in anticipation of APU startup. Crossfeed valve is off. Turn it on, it goes bright, and then dim. Crossfeed valve off, bright, and then off. Fuel temperature is showing about 12 degrees. That's fine. Navigation display switches are to normal. That's great. We can leave the yaw damper off until APU startup. Spoilers, flight control, and alternate flap switches are guarded. Leading edge flaps devices checks out fine. We'll get the IRS system lined up. Align and nav, and line and nav. Spin this lower dial. See how long we have in the align process. 8 minutes. And because we're going to be using radio navigation, it's important that these speakers be on. Here's the number 3 radio microphone set up to the pilot side, and the speakers for the nav, ADF, and marker are here. Auxiliary fuel switches, ground transfer switches are fine. Flight recorder switch is fine. Mach airspeed warning test, system number 1. System number 2. That's fine. Engine EEC switches are on and guarded. Crew oxygen is showing at about 17%. That's fine. Okay, she's out for the walk around. Passenger oxygen switch is guarded and closed. I want to do one thing to the setup. We want to okay, what am I going to do? Hmm. What I'm looking for is the flight attendant interaction. I want to remove anything with the flight attendant since we are in a Boeing business jet, and I thought there was something to do that. Oh, maybe I'm just going insane. I will let that go. Okay. Wipers are off. APU is off, so nothing on the exhaust temperature gauge for the APU. We're getting power from ground power. Batteries reading 24 volts DC, 115 volts AC. Nothing from the left engine, APU, or right engine. Auxiliary battery is showing 28 volts DC. Transformer rectifier unit number 1 is showing 28 volts DC. Same for transformer rectifier 2 and 3. That's fine. We can turn on the window heat. Wing and engine anti-ice are off. The hydraulics have not been pressurized. The forward door is the only door that's open right now. We'll do a cockpit voice recorder test, 5-second test. 1, 2, 3. There it goes. That's good. We are venting to the outside, so there's no differential pressure, and we are neither in a climb nor descent. So the pressures, the interior pressures are fine. Landing altitude in Minneapolis is 831. So we'll go ahead and set this up. We're in automatic mode. We're going to be flying to 2,100 feet today. Packs are off. Go into dual bleed in anticipation of engine start. Air conditioning is to auto. Supply duct temperature is at 39 degrees. That's pretty warm. Passenger cabin is reading 31 degrees. It's still a little warm. That'll cool down once we get the packs on. Great. So let's go down to the flight management computer. Fuel, plenty of fuel, so we don't need refueling. So we can turn the seatbelt signs on. Test the attend button. Yes, go for it. Okay, not only 10 passengers today. Payload, let's take on some cargo. How about 1,500 kilos in the forward? 1,700 kilos in the aft. Guests 10 out of a capacity of 30. Those 10 passengers are now aboard. We have our cargo already aboard. So we can start doing some calculations. We are in a Boeing 737 Boeing business jet with winglets. Our engines are rated at 27,000 pounds of thrust. Our air cycle is current. We are at Charlie Yankee Whiskey Golf at gate number 7. Let's go to the next page and grab one of our GPS coordinates. Routing today on our way to KMPS or MSP. MSP. I always mix that up. For communication purposes, we're going to be a Dallas flight, or a Delta flight rather, Delta flight number 43. And our flight plan is, let's see if I can pull up our flight plan here. Winnipeg off runway 36. I'm going to change that to runway 18. That VOR is too close to the airport. I'm not going to use it. HML is actually a TACAN. It's a military TACAN. But we do have a radio frequency for it, so I'll use it. It's the Humboldt TACAN. It's near Pembina, North Dakota, right as we cross into the United States. So it has a frequency. And then GFK is Grand Forks VOR, Grand Forks, North Dakota. And now an ADF of GF. I'm sorry, an NDB of GF. I tend to interchange the terms. It's the Heiser NDB. I tend to interchange the terms NDB and ADF. I shouldn't, though. And then another NDB, Alpha Alpha. Which is the Kenai NDB near Fargo, North Dakota. And then another great Foxtrot Foxtrot is another NDB. That's in Hamry and Fergus Falls, Minnesota. And then to AXN, which is a VOR, very high omnidirectional radio. And that's in Alexandria, Minnesota. And then next is STC, which is another VOR in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And finally, GEP, which is the Gopher VOR just north of Minneapolis. And this plan also has the MSP VOR, but just like Winnipeg was too close to Winnipeg Airport, MSP is right on top of MSP Airport, so I'm not going to enter it into the routing. And depart on runway 18, no procedure. Arrive on runway 12 right, no procedure. Activate, execute. Okay, legs. And looks like they've thrown in a approach or a waypoint to the runway, which is fine. It's not really a procedure. It's just a couple of waypoints shy of the runway. Great. We have our zero fuel weight. That'll calculate our gross weight and our center of gravity. Reserves are 2.2 today. Plenty of fuel. Cost index of 85. We're going to hustle right along. Average wind today is 269 at 46. Oh, I'm sorry. Can't enter that in until I give it a cruise altitude. Cruise altitude is 21,000 feet. Rather low, actually. Okay, now I want to put in that average wind of 269 at 46. No D-rate on the climb or the takeoff. 5 degrees on the flaps. There's our center of gravity and our trim setting, 5.13. We'll verify those V speeds. 136 can go here in this upper window. Oops. Wrong window. .173 is our initial track, initial heading. And that should be fine. Christy, are you ready to run a checklist? Pre-flight checklist. Well, I tested the jump seat passenger, but I didn't test my own. So let's test my own. Oxygen is 100, tested 100%. Set and checked. Set. Yes, I'm positive. Cut off. Okay, very good. Let's talk to, we're going to be using default air traffic control today. It's not my default. So let's see if we can get a clearance.
Winnipeg Airport information, India 1800 Zulu. Wind 197 at 6. Visibility 8. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,000 feet, few clouds at 5,600 feet, few clouds at 13,000 feet. Temperature 22. Dew point 1 tree. QNH tree 0.5 tree. ILS Yankee runway 1 tree in use. Landing and departing runway 18. DFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have India.
Winnipeg clearance delivery hot dog 1 IFR to Minneapolis, ready to copy.
Hot dog 1 is cleared to Minneapolis Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 18 climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119.9er squawk tree 266.
Hot dog 1 cleared to Minneapolis Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 18 climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure on 119.9er squawk tree 266.
Hot dog 1 readback correct. Contact ground on 121.9er. Good day.
Okay, the Transponder and TCAS system are in standby mode until we're pushed from the gate. Let's get the APU fired up. Anti-collision light on. Start the APU.
Winnipeg clearance delivery Alpha India Romeo Charlie Alpha November Alpha Delta IFR to Calgary ready to copy. Alpha India Romeo Charlie Alpha November Alpha Delta is cleared to Calgary Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 18 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119.5 squawk 142 tree.
Thank you.
Alpha India Romeo Charlie Alpha November Alpha Delta cleared to Calgary Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 18 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure on 118.0 squawk 142 tree. November Alpha Delta readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.9er when ready to taxi. Good day.
We're on the APU. Let's do a before start checklist. Before start, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're not going to do a before start checklist quite yet. Yeah, door's not closed quite yet. I'm setting up the radios. Our first VOR is 112.4. That's the Humboldt TACAN. And because it's a military TACAN, I don't think we're going to get a identifying Morse code on it. But I want to set up the speakers for it anyway. And then the next waypoint is the Grand Forks VOR. That is a conventional VOR, so we'll get the identifier, 114.3. That's number 2 on the captain's side, and it's in the primary position for the first officer's side. It's in the the flip-flop, the standby position on number 2. And then the third VOR is way down in Alexandria, Minnesota. Yes, please. Yeah, the APU should already be started if you look at it. 115.95 will be the next VOR. So that'll be ready to swap in the number 2 radio. And then our first our first NDB frequency will be the Heiser NDB in Grand Forks, and that has a frequency of 345. And after that, the next NDB is Keene Fargo at 365. Great. Radios are set up. I don't think we're going to get any radios here on the ground. It's a little too late to test the squibs for the APU, but we'll test them anyway. It looks good. Test the squibs on the fire bottles to the engines. They're okay. We're going to test the fire suppression system. That's okay. Now we'll do an actual fire test. That's good. Test for smoke in the cockpit, in the cargo area. That's good. We can do a ground proximity warning test. Meanwhile, I'll check out the autopilot disconnect lights here on the pilot side and on the first officer side.
Pull up.
GPWS test looks good. We'll do an annunciator light test. Every light in the house, every bulb, every element, every filament is performing as it should. That looks good. Are we on the APU? Yes, we are on the APU. We're getting 24 volt DC, 115 volt AC from the APU. Transformer rectifier units are getting their proper voltages. It's all looking really good. Just a couple more minutes and we'll be ready to push. Yes. Okay, she's closing up. Let's get the door closed. Let's pull the chock, release the ground power. Pull the chocks. And I'm going to simulate talking to air traffic control. Winnipeg ground. I don't know if I can simulate this or I don't know if I can request pushback here or not. Yeah, I have to wait for ready for taxi. Winnipeg ground. Hot dog 1 requests pushback and engine start. So we have our pushback clearance. We're getting duct pressure. There's our 20%. Engine 2, introduce fuel. Before start checklist. Set and checked. Set and checked. Completed. Yes. .13 on the aileron trim. Trim wheel's not working, but as soon as we go into autopilot, that will rectify itself. Free and 0. Completed. Flight control check. Right aileron, full deflection, no binding. Left aileron, full deflection, no binding. Up elevator, full deflection, no binding. Down elevator, full deflection, no binding. Right rudder, full deflection, no binding. Left rudder, full deflection, no binding. Your turn. Let's move the... Let's move the engine displays to the lower screen so they won't be distracting. Let's get a taxi clearance.
Winnipeg ground hot dog 1 with India ready to taxi IFR.
Hot dog 1 taxi 2 and hold short of runway 18. Contact tower on 118.3 when ready.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway 18 hot dog 1.
There's our pin. He gives us a wave. Clear on the left. Clear on the right. Break off. Brake test. That's fine. And let's boogie on down to runway 18. We're not picking up our VOR quite yet. So runway 18 is approximately due south. Our first heading is track 173, so it won't be too far off of 18. So we'll follow our initial track 173 in the heading. Excuse me. We can turn the TCAS system and the transponder on. Don't run into the grass. Oh, that's a bit of a ditch. Let's get back onto the... Get back onto the pavement. Runway turn-off lights on, taxi light on. Let's get the power on the engines. After start checklist. Oh, no. APU off. APU off. Probes came on automatically. Ah, come on, baby. Don't get in the grass. Flaps to 5. Before takeoff checklist. Set. Flaps 5, green light. Set. Set and checked. Runway entry procedure.
Winnipeg Tower Hot Dog 1 ready for IFR departure runway 18.
Hot Dog 1Q and H3 0.53119 at 6. Cleared for takeoff runway 18.
Cleared for takeoff runway 18 Hot Dog 1.
3053 on the altimeter. Takeoff. Landing lights are on. Strobes are on. %. Toga. Our auto throttle. Our arm auto throttle. Now Toga.
V1.
Rotate. Gear up.
Hot Dog 1 contact St. Andrews departure on 119.9. Good day.
Flaps up. Flaps up. Flaps up.
Hot Dog 1, please acknowledge.
119.9 Hot Dog 1.
And we're picking up the Humboldt VOR at 58 miles. There's the green arrow for the Humboldt VOR. Why are the flaps upset? I hope I didn't upset the flaps.
St. Andrews departure hot dog 16,900 feet.
Hot dog 1 St. Andrews departure QNH tree 0.53. Continue to Hotel Mike Lima as planned.
St. Andrews departure hot dog 1. Request 17,000 feet.
Hot dog 1 climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect 17,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect 17,000 feet. Hot dog 1.
.49 miles until the Humboldt VOR.
St. Andrews departure hot dog 1. Request flight level 230.
Oh,
Hot dog 1 contact Winnipeg Center on 118.0. Good day.
118.0 hot dog 1. Winnipeg Center hot dog 1 is passing 9,400 feet, climbing 15,000 feet.
Hot dog 1 Winnipeg Center QNH tree 0.53. Continue to Hotel Mike Lima as planned. Hot dog 1 climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect flight level 230.
Climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect flight level 230 hot dog.
go
1.
for it.
Winnipeg Center hot dog 1. Request flight level 210.
Hot dog 1 climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect flight level 210.
Climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect flight level 210.
So
hot
we
dog
just
1.
picked up Grand Forks VOR on the number 2. So 41 miles to Humboldt, which you notice there's no Morse identifier for Humboldt, and it's in little bitty letters here. It's not actually a VOR. Remember, that's a military TACAN. I used it because I had a frequency for it. But the VOR2, that is in big bold letters. And if I come down to the radio,
Hot dog 1 climb and maintain flight level 210. Hot dog 1, did you hear my last transmission?
Climb and maintain flight level 210 hot dog 1.
if I come down to the radio and turn on the speaker for the number 2 VOR, you start to hear the identifier. And going to the Grand Forks VOR right here, it should be able to follow this. Dash, dash, dot, 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 dash, dot, dot, dash, dot, dash. dash dash dot 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 dash dot dash dot dash dot dash that dash dot dash 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 dot 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 dash dot dash dot dash. Okay, so that is verified as GFR. Those are the Morse letters for Grand Forks. I'm sorry, GKF. GFK for Grand Forks. And we're beyond transition altitude, so we'll change over to standard pressure. And I like to have the Morse identifier in the background just to remind me that I am still getting a good radio signal from that transmitter. We're coming up to our target altitude. There's Interstate 29 and the Red River of the North off of our right wingtip. $22 miles to Humboldt, 76 miles to the Grand Forks VOR. Also, we've got the ADF in the ADF is set, so as soon as we start getting the ADF frequency, the automatic direction finder frequency from the NDB, and that NDB is at Grand Forks. It's also Grand Forks. It's the Heiser NDB, also at Grand Forks. But see, we are 72 miles from Grand Forks, and we are easily getting the VR frequency, but we're not yet getting the ADF frequency, which goes to show you the kind of ranges involved in those radio frequencies. VOR is basically FM radio, whereas NDBs are transmitting on the AM band. I remember in flight training you could tune in your favorite AM radio station and listen to the ball game or listen to your music while flying along and using the NDB for navigation. Of course, you know the history of NDB. The Japanese fleet, as they navigated toward Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, they were using Hawaii AM radio to tune their direction finders. And that's how they found Honolulu.
Minneapolis Center on 127.8. Good day.
127.8 hot dog 1. Minneapolis Center, hot dog 1, flight level 210.
Hot dog 1 Minneapolis Center. Continue to Hotel Mike Lima as planned.
So when the NDB comes in, you're going to see we have the green arrow at the top, which represents the VOR, and then the blue arrow will swing to the top, representing the NDB. We're 7 miles from the number 1 VOR. I'm going to come down here and flip over to the Grand Forks VOR on the number 1 radio, and I'm going to flip over to the Alexandria VOR on the number 2 radio. I'm going to turn off the number 2 speaker. And I'm going to be... Oh, there we go. There's the ADF. And when we start picking up that ADF, you're going to get 2 Morse identifiers. So it'll be a little confusing in the headset. So we're not picking up the Alexandria VOR yet, but we're 54 miles from Grand Forks. That green arrow. And notice how the aircraft's nose is not quite perfectly with our heading. That's a small amount of crab. We've got a little bit of right crab into the aircraft to compensate for this little bit of a quartering headwind from the right. It's not much of a headwind, only 6 knots. You just got a little bit of a crab in the aircraft to compensate. You can see the VOR needle and the amount of crab by the displacement from the VOR track. Three, 4, 5 on the ADF. "41 miles to Grand Forks." We still have the Red River and Interstate 29 as a visual landmark below us. Just as if you were flying a Cessna, you would bounce the radio navigation off of the visual landmarks. This instrument is an RMI, or radio magnetic indicator, and looks like the right-hand side is in-op. So the in-op side I've got selected to the VOR, and the operational side I've selected to the ADF. Now there's two needles. There's a fat needle and a narrow needle. So we're looking for the movement of the narrow needle for the ADF. And initially, when we first get it, it might fluctuate a little bit. We'll be at the outer edge of its range. And then as we get closer to the transmitter, that needle should firm up. 24 miles from Grand Forks. The VOR is located a little bit before the actual NDB, non-directional beacon. So you can see here on the map, there's the VOR, and there's the NDB. So they're not co-located. The NDB is just south of the airport. After takeoff checklist. There it goes, 19 miles. There's the ADF needle starting to fluctuate. And I hear the dual Morse code. Do you hear the dual Morse code? And I want to see that blue needle swing around into position. And I'll come down here and I will turn off the speaker for the VOR. So
one contact Minneapolis Center on 124.2.
So now we're only listening to the NDB.
124.2 for Hot Dog 1. Minneapolis Center, Hot Dog 1, flight level 210.
Hot Dog 1 Minneapolis Center, continue to Golf Foxtrot Kilo as planned.
So this is the NDB and the identifier. Dash, dash, dot, 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 dash, dot. Dash, dash, dot, 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 dash, dot. And that should be GF, the Morse letters for GF for Grand Forks. I'm a little concerned that I'm not getting the blue needle. I should be getting a blue needle at the top of this display. Seven miles from Grand Forks. I'm going to go ahead and set 115.9 as the next VOR that we should be getting. We'll put that in number 1, and we'll put the Grand Forks in 114.3. We'll put that in the number 2 radio. So we still have it over here. We're 4 miles from Grand Forks. We haven't picked up the VOR from Alexandria yet. And when we make station passage, that green needle should swing out of the way. And maybe, I'm hoping when that green needle swings out of the way, we'll see the blue needle of the ADF. I'm mildly concerned why we don't. Now here we go. Notice how we got flagged. We're in the zone of ambiguity now. We're in an area right over the VOR. We can't. There's the swing. Okay, now we're looking at the tail end of the Grand Forks VOR as it swung around. Now we're flying outbound. So we were flying the 174 radio inbound. Actually, I should say, radios are always outbound. There's no such thing as an inbound radio. So we're on the 174 radio outbound now, and we were following in on the 3, whatever the reciprocal of 174 is. Okay. Now, unless there's a DME equipment co-located with the ADF, there won't be any information. See the swing? Okay, the arrow is swinging around. We just made station passage from the NDB. And our next NDB is in Fergus Falls. I'm sorry, let's see here. No, I'm sorry, it's in Fargo. AA. So I'm going to swap the frequency. And then when we pick up I believe we're already picking up the Fargo NDB. The radio Morse is... Nope, that's not it. We are picking up... What are we listening to here? .365. That is the correct frequency for Fargo. I'm hearing dash dot, dash dot. Oh, I know why. I know why. Okay, so let's go to Fargo. Here we go. Dot dash, dot dash. Dot dash, dot dash. That's AA for Fargo. Okay, that is the correct Morse identifier. I'm still concerned that we're not getting the blue needle. We should be getting the blue needle for these ADFs. That is one of my disappointments today, is not seeing the blue needle for ADFs. I don't know why I'm not getting it. Still following Interstate 29 and the Red River of the North. Oh, I think I know why there's no blue needle. I figured it out. There's, okay, ADF AA, and there's the blue needle. Oh my goodness, I would have woken up at 3 in the morning and not figured it out. So the number 2 side, the only thing you can display on the number 2 side is the VOR2 because the other side is INOP. But you can toggle between ADF1 and VOR1 here on the left side. And bringing this switch down, I was able to toggle on ADF1. We're listening to Fargo, and the blue needle is the direction to Fargo. And we don't have any distance information. And you won't have any unless there's DME equipment co-located with the NDB. Boy, that was a big mystery. I'm glad it's solved. It was such a simple thing. Excuse me. So after Fargo, we're looking for Fergus Falls, Minnesota, and that's another NDB. Their frequency is 337. So once we get station passage of Fargo, we'll flip over to Fergus Falls, Minnesota.
Hot dog 1 contact Minneapolis Center on 134.75. Good day.
134.75 for Hot Dog 1.
After Fergus Falls should be Alexandria. There's the Alexandria VOR in the number 1. And after Alexandria should be St. Cloud at 112.10. So we're turning. Did I miss station passage? I must have missed station passage. I was not paying attention, and I did. Now we're looking at the tail of the ADF needle. So we'll flip over to our next NDB. And we're not reading it yet, so we're just flying the track toward it. We are no longer tracking on interstate. So the Red River is going to continue heading south, but we are now moving southeast. We are no longer tracking Interstate 29. Now we're following along Interstate 94, which leads into Minneapolis.
Minneapolis Center, Hot Dog 1 flight level 210.
Hot Dog 1 Minneapolis Center, continue to Alpha X-Ray November as planned.
Since we're currently not tracking a VOR, you can see the center section of our course line is missing. Can move this over to 145 and get it aligned with our ground track. And when we pick up a VOR, then that center section will fill in, and we'll know how much of a crab we're in. Oh, okay. See the blue needle? There's the Fergus Falls NDB, and we're right at the edge of its range, so it's a little bit indefinite, but it'll firm up. And let's check out the Morse identifier for Fergus Falls. Dot, dot, dash, dot, 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 dash, dot. Okay, so that's FF for Fergus Falls. Dot, dot, dash, dot, 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 dash, dot. And if I knew my Morse code, I would know that those are 2 letter Fs. And the identifier is good. And as I mentioned earlier, I like to listen to the identifiers. I'm going to put 115.9 in our I'm going to put the Alexandria VOR in our number 2. I'm going to temporarily move our RMI needle to the VOR1. Yeah, we're not receiving it yet. You can see the yellow flag. The only thing we're tracking now is the NDB, and we don't have distance information for the NDB. I'm looking for station passage. There goes this needle. There goes the needle. So we just passed Fergus Falls, and the tail of that needle will swing up to the top. There's the tail. And now if I flip over to VOR1, we'll be looking for that VOR source from Alexandria. I'm going to make sure the St. Cloud is in the number 2, 11210. So Alexandria should come in. I'm going to turn off the speaker to the ADF and turn on the speaker to the VOR. Interstate 94 is off of our right wingtip. IFR, I follow roads. Oh, I know why I'm not getting that VOR. It's 115.95 is the frequency. I messed up on the you cannot make a mistake. VOR navigation is extremely unforgiving. 115.95, and there is the course. You can see we're putting in just a little bit of a crab. Alexandria, and the identifier dot dash dash dot dot dash dash dot. Dot dash dash dot dash dash dot. Okay, so that's ALX for Alexandria. 6 miles, so we'll have the zone of ambiguity where that will disappear, and then our tracking needle will flip around, and we'll also flip around over here on the RMI. 5 miles, we're reaching that zone of ambiguity. Usually it happens within the 2 miles or right around the 2 mile mark. Of course, it depends on altitude. Oh, there we go. And we lost the needle and we lost the tracking. So let's move on to St. Cloud, which is 112.2. Or 112.10. And we're not receiving St. Cloud quite yet.
Minneapolis Center, Hot Dog 1. Request 11,000 feet.
Hot Dog 1 descend and maintain 11,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 11,000 feet, Hot Dog 1.
Well, I've got to get on to the business of landing this airplane. We've had our fun with radio navigation. Now it's time to get serious and think about putting this plane on the ground. So let's go to approach. Flaps 40, 128 as a reference speed. 110.3 on the ILS, 121 on the course.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your descent 11,000 feet. Hot Dog 1, contact Minneapolis Center on 118.05. Good day.
Going to 118.05, Hot Dog 1.
Transition level, let's go to local pressure.
Minneapolis Center Hot Dog 1 is at 16,000 feet, descending 11,000 feet.
Hot Dog 1 Minneapolis Center QNH tree 0.53. Continue to Golf Echo Papa as planned.
Approach procedure. Two 90902 set. Is that all? Well, I thought the approach checklist was more involved than that. Descent checklist. Leveling out. Descent checklist.
Hot Dog 1 contact Minneapolis Center on 121.05. Good day.
One two 1.05 for Hot Dog 1.
Set and checked.
Minneapolis Center Hot Dog 1 is at 11,200 feet, descending 11,000 feet.
Hot Dog 1 Minneapolis Center QNH tree 0.53. Continue to Golf Echo Papa as planned.
Ah.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your descent 11,000 feet.
Let's put the engine displays in the lower panel.
Minneapolis Center Hot Dog 1. Request 4,000 feet.
Hot Dog 1 descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Hot Dog 1, did you hear my last transmission?
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet, Hot Dog 1.
Hot Dog 1 descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
Ah, you already gave me 4,000. Too late now. Descent checklist.
Hot Dog 1, please acknowledge.
Completed. Yeah, you do your 10,000
Descend
checks.
and maintain 7,000 feet, hot dog 1.
I'm going down to 4. You already cleared me to 4.
Hot dog 1, you are 700 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 7,000 feet QNH, tree 0.5 tree.
Oh, I don't like 7,000 feet. I like 4,000 feet.
Hot dog 1, did you copy?
Yeah, I copied. I didn't like it, but I copied.
Climb and maintain 7,000 feet, hot dog 1.
Hot dog 1, contact Minneapolis approach on 119er decimal tree. Good day.
One 119er decimal, tree hot dog 1. Minneapolis approach hot dog 1 is at 4,800 feet, climbing 7,000 feet.
I'm really...
Hot dog 1, Minneapolis approach QNH tree 0.5 tree. Continue to Golf Echo Papa as planned.
And I'll take flaps 1, please. Approaching target altitude.
Hot dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
I don't want to go to 7,000 feet. You cleared me to 4. I like 4. Oh, just picked up the identifier for the ILS. Flaps 2, please. I think that's the Mississippi River down there. I believe that's still Interstate
Hot dog 1,
94.
please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
I'm not sure. Flaps 3. Did I ask for gear down? I don't remember asking for gear down. We have gear down. I don't remember asking for gear down, but somehow we have it. That's good. We're getting a fuel caution because the center tanks just ran out of fuel. That's fine. Just turn off those pumps. I'll take flaps 15, please.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
We're approaching the Gopher VOR and the zone of ambiguity, of course. There's downtown Minneapolis ahead of us. We are a little far. I could have held off. I could have held off the descent longer. I didn't realize how far north we were.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
Let's arm the localizer. Should be at 4,000 at Zesty, so we're doing really well there. 8 miles to Zesty. Oh, flaps are at 10. We'll take flaps 15.
Please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
Let's arm the approach. Let's go to Command A and Command B, 2 autopilots.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
Four miles to Zesty. We almost have glide slope intercept. A little further for localizer intercept. Glide slope is coming in.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
Let's go to flaps 20, 25. I'm 20. Flaps 20. Excuse me. We have glide slope. Localizer coming in. Let's have flaps 30.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
Full flaps. Landing checklist. Oh, I guess we could arm the speed brake. That would be good. Armed. Yes, it is armed. Down. I'm sure about that. Flaps 40, green light. Flaps 40, green light. Yes. Okay.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
3,000 at Kins.
Hot Dog 1, please expedite your climb 7,000 feet.
So the BBJ technically won't do an auto land. Technically, but you can see the glide slope and the flare are taken care of, but it won't do the rollout, apparently. So one of the differences between the BBJ and the other 737s is it doesn't do a full auto land.
1,000.
Oh, we're stable.
Hot Dog 1, you are 4 miles northwest. Keep speed not above 210 knots. Expect ILS runway 12 right approach via Krug transition. Cleared to Krug.
Keep speed not above 210 knots. Expect ILS runway 12 right approach via Krug transition. Cleared to Krug Hot Dog 1.
$500. 400. 300. Approaching minimums.
Autopilot off.
200.
Continue.
Minimums.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Cessna 1,
50,
please
40,
expedite your climb
30.
7,000 feet.
20, 10,
Reversers. We have reversers. Let's take the next one. Flaps up. Turn off the auto brake. Okay, did the first officer turn on the APU? She did. Okay. Let's get the APU on the bus. Parking brake on. Fuel cut off. Seatbelt sign off. Let's get those doors opened. Chocks are set. Let's go to stairs. Oh. Chocks are set. Let's request stairs. Request SUVs. Oh. Stairs are arriving. Stairs are here. And connecting. Request ground power. Okay, I wonder why I can't deplane. I don't know why I can't deplane. But at this point, we'll get the passengers off, and that will conclude our flight. Oh, we're not going to use a jet bridge. So, interesting flight today. Didn't go exactly as I would have liked. I would have liked it to have been a whole lot smoother. But thanks for joining me for the ride, and I hope to see you again. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you want to keep watching, then hit that old subscribe button, and we'll see you later. Thanks again.